Hi, katzcradul here. I know that on my day off I should not even come to the computer and look at the news. I should just go on and get my work done because I made the mistake this morning of coming and reading the headlines, and now I've spent a whole hour dealing with this issue. I pulled up this article that says students strike against new federal school lunch rules, and it really kind of got me fired up. The beginning of the story talks about this kid who, a big old guy, I forget how tall he is and how much he weighs, but he's a big guy. He's an athlete. And it talks about how much they've cut the school lunch program. They've cut out fat and they've cut out protein. They're loading up on fruits and vegetables, which is a very good thing, but they're cutting so much fat and so much protein from these lunches that these kids who, especially the ones that play sports in the afternoon, like this guy, he and his coach figure that he probably burns about 3,000 calories a day at school. He has a 3-hour workout in the evening for football practice, and the cap on the calories for school lunch is 850 calories, and this kid's starving. Anyway, I read the article because it's very interesting. I'll attach that. But it prompted me to write this letter to my boss, who is my district superintendent, and also the high school principal. We live in a very rural area and have a little school, and junior high and high school fall under one. We have one principal, and my daughter, Praeeo, falls under his jurisdiction. So I sent, and he's my boss in a way as well. So anyway, I wrote this letter to my superintendent and to my principal and Praeeo's principal after having read the article. And here's what I said. I thought you might find this article interesting. It appeared on AOL this morning. I hear from, and I'm not going to say her name, I'm just going to say Praeeo. I hear from Praeeo that there's been, pardon me, a little bit of an uprising at our school as well. Lots more students bringing their lunch from home. My first thoughts when I heard of the new USDA guidelines that they recommended lowering fat and protein in school lunches was, one, how are we going to keep the children on task in the afternoon when they feel hungry, because removing even more of the fat from their lunch will keep them from feeling satiated? Two, what about those athletes who will practice their given sports after school without having eaten anything since lunch, and lunch itself having been low-fat protein? And three, most importantly, from my background in child development, I know that myelin, the sheath that forms around the axons of neurons in the brain, continues to form until adolescence. Interestingly enough, myelin is 30% protein and 70% fat. Ironically, the two components the USDA wants us to cut back on in our school lunch program. I feel certain most of our children are eating enough fat at home, but in these tough economic times, I'm not sure about the protein. I love that the guidelines push more fruit and vegetables, but I'm not sure we've done the right thing by cutting back on the fat and protein. Of course, beggars can't be choosers, and we are most definitely beggars, hands extended and open for federal dollars to support what we do locally in education. This isn't an indictment of our district. That's just where we are when it comes to public education. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's a discussion for another time. I either bring my lunch to school or go home for lunch. However, on picture day, I ate the cafeteria lunch. I must admit it was the best school lunch I've ever eaten. However, I observed a junior high student steal a boiled egg from the salad bar. I used the word steal because he had already consumed his hot lunch. I mentioned what I'd seen to Praeeo that evening. She said, "He does that every day, and so do other children." Her comment, without knowing my feelings on the subject, was, "Other kids do it too. They need the protein. They're hungry." Anyway, here's the article, and I attached it and signed my name. I'm becoming increasingly concerned about the nutrition of the students in our school. Our area is what I would consider economically depressed, and even though in my letter to my superintendent I mentioned that they're getting enough fat at home, it's not the right kind of fats, I'm certain. The kinds of fats that Praeeo gets are real butter and real olive oil and avocados and those good fats that we know are good for us and build the brain. not the kinds of fats that we typically find in cheap food from the grocery stores, those that have been hydrogenated and are chemically laden and tampered with. I don't know what the answer is going to be to this, but I think clearly that the decisions they're making at the federal level are not good, and I think they probably know they're not good, and I hesitate to say it, but they're really, in my opinion, are weakening our students and all of us by these guidelines they put forth, but especially our students. And I am telling you, the kids in my school are hungry. When they finish lunch, they're hungry. Their stomachs are rumbling in the afternoon. They are not happy. And I see more and more children bringing their lunches to school. And the administrators, throw their hands up and say, we don't get it. We're serving more fruits and vegetables. There's more food on their plate than there ever has been. We just don't understand what the problem is. And they are definitely not listening to the students, because if they did, the students would tell them. Prepper A has taken her lunch every day this year. She will continue to take it every day this year. And the very moment my school district tries to tell me what I can and what I can't put in her lunch is the day I resign and pull her out of school. And I kid you not, that is exactly what will happen, and I am prepared for that. Anyway, read the article. I think you'll find it interesting, and give me some feedback and let me know what your thoughts are. You may not have a kid in school, but you may have grandkids in school. What are they saying? I'd be interested to hear from you, and I'll let you know what I hear from my superintendent and my principal, although, truthfully, I expect to hear nothing. Until next time, Cat's Cradle.